Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the General Show. So, I'm back with another episode, an interesting one. And yes, as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe because, as the slogan goes, health, wealth, and everything in between. So, before we get started, I'd like to say what we're going to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about debt. I'm going to simplify it, what it means, and the good, the bad, and everything in between of it. So essentially, what that debt is a state of owing money to a bank, a lender, an institution, or creditor. So essentially, you get into debt with someone or an institution that has money, more money than you have currently, and you're going to pay them back at a specific interest. See, so that's what debt is. Going to look at why you need debt when you're starting out in South Africa's climate, the pros, the cons of it, how to maneuver around debt, smart debt, deadly debt, and how you can use debt to change your financial situation at home for the better for yourself and future generations to come. So, as I mentioned, what debt is, right? Debt for many of us, unfortunately, because we are not financially sound or literate, make a lot of mistakes for debt. So, someone, let's say, is earning 10 Rand, they believe that okay, they qualify for debt or credit, and then they go and start getting stuff on credit, and then their debt starts to accumulate. Unfortunately, most of us end up over indebting ourselves, and we develop a lifestyle where we end up living within the debt and normalizing it, which shouldn't be the case. Debt, when used correctly, is very powerful, but also when used in a very bad way or mismanaged is very horrendous for us, and it can stagnate you for a very long time. Hence, we're having these conversations. So essentially, right, you need debt because you, for instance, you're starting out in life, you don't have a lot of money, but you want to purchase that car, that house, or that cell phone. So you go and you go get debt, which, when used correctly, is a form of good debt, as I mentioned earlier on. Most people, when they start out their interns, they don't have a first car. If you're starting from an underprivileged family or background, you don't have a car, you don't have a house, you don't have a phone. So you get all of that under debt, and you're supposed to repay certain percentages of it back with interest every month. That is very good because the more you do that in a disciplined way and you're very loyal, it means that you will be given more buying power as time goes by, which is very good. Which means that, let's say you borrow 5 Rand, you pay back as 7.50 Rand. They will next time borrow you 10 or 15 Rand because you gave it back to them in a diligent manner. Those are one of the perks. You can purchase your first house, paid off, however way. We'll discuss the very interesting ways which you can lower your debt repayments and all of that. You can purchase a phone because it now becomes an asset. You're able to do stuff for work. You're able to basically increase the quality of your life. Car you're able to get, can move around. It's very important to move around at your own convenience. It helps you also to get to that meeting that you need. Maybe you need to run an errand and so forth. And some jobs these days, you genuinely need a car because you move around the country and so forth. They can give you a petrol card, give you car benefits for using your own car and so forth. There are so many benefits of it. So these are the pros, or how you need debt and why you need it, right? Best advantage of debt is it makes you access assets which ideally you wouldn't have money for at one go, but they're able to give it to you in a small quantity, right? Which is very good. And then unfortunately, there's a bad side of it, of debt. As I mentioned, someone will earn 10 Rand and then start accumulating debt, and then they're unable to pay back. So the end of the month or beginning of the month, with that 10 rand, they only end up with 1 rand because the 9 rand went back to debt. So we need to be careful of that. We need to be mindful of how we operate with such situations, and then we navigate them in a smarter way, because remember, we are the generation that is going to do everything smarter, not necessarily work harder, but then smarter over things, you see, hence why we're doing this. So the cons of debt are you ruin your credit score. Your credit score, in plain and simple English, is your scorecard in which financial institutions will rate how good you are of a person to give money to. So if you have a high credit score, it means you are more likely to get the money from the banks. But if you have a low or bad credit score, you're less likely to qualify for the debt that you want to incur. You see, so that's how it works. Entrapment, essentially you become trapped because you end up overpaying. Let's say you defaulted, they add interest on that. The more you default, the more money is added on, and then it's a vicious cycle. Hence we need to be very careful of that. You can't access money when you need it. Let's say you needed maybe a loan of 10,000 to an emergency. You can't access it because you're debt. You have a lot of bad debt, you see, and then you get blacklisted, which means that most financial institutions are not fearing for you to get their debt. They're not going to touch you, you see. So you become alienated because you owe too much money to too many people, which is a bad thing. So we need to be mindful. Yes, I started with my 10 rand. Yes, I want to fix all the problems at home. Yes, I want to wear everything fancy, but step by step, guys. You can't figure out life at one go, nor can you solve all the problems at once. You need to be strategic with how you approach things, because you're going to make life easier for yourselves rather than creating a problem, then raising your hands up and then wondering why it's not going to work out. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, it's one of those things, but yeah, we all learn in that way. And yeah, as I mentioned before, there's smart debt. So what some people do is, for them to increase their credit score, you'll find that they don't have a credit score at all. So they'll open maybe a cell phone contract for like 30 bucks or so. They pay it off for 12 months, increases their credit score. Then they get larger debt, they paid off, increased credit score, and then they're able to accumulate assets that way, because they started small and then now they're going big, and they make sure they don't default on the payment, and they make sure they're always on the good side of things. They're always following the rules, sometimes paying extra so that it minuses the final total interest of things, you see. So that's being very smart with the money and so forth, you see. So that's a smart debt way, and it's very good, you see. And for professionals, I hope that we're able to use our debt given the chance properly, because most of us, we want to live lifestyles we can't afford. I strongly recommend living below your means, way below your means, intentionally for a very long time, so that you're able to accumulate. Let's say you have a 3-year internship contract. Those 2 years, if you can live below your means, accumulating slowly, by the time you're in your final year of your internship, you are able to do so much because you've been fixing your money spending habits, you've been smarter about it. And the thing is, information is out there. I'm one of many people who love finance and talking about it and investing and economics in general. So we continue to share every day because we're learning, but the information is there. It's our own ignorance which is creating even bigger or worse mistakes. You don't need to learn something the hard way. There's some lessons that you don't need to learn the hard way. You need to learn from other people's mistakes, and then you take it from there. Besides that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in and coming this far. Please, may you continue to be smart with your money, continue to focus, and the different conversations that we have. Thank you very much for the engagement. It means a lot. And yeah, it's all we need to do every single day is to keep on pushing. Besides that, ladies and gentlemen, may you please like, comment, share, and subscribe.